Welcome, everybody. Hey, how are we? It's Bo's birthday. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Sorry for our tardiness. My co-host, the birthday boy, to his right. Everybody in the Arizona media room made Bo a cake, and they were divulging in some red velvet before the show. But now he's with us after running up, getting his cardio in on the stairs. But in all seriousness, welcome in your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast, Bo Brack, Johnny Venerable. Tons of great engagement in the chat, tons of great insight and information today. But first, I turn it over to the birthday boy.
That's right. I talked to the Cardinals media relations staff today. Said, it's my birthday. Can you give me that one-on-one with Kyler Murray? And they said, no, get out of her face.
They said, who are you?
Yeah. Can I see your credential, please?
Yes.
And then they said, security might need to escort somebody out, and say, oh, it's the guy from PHNX. It's okay. Take your place in the corner of the press room again. No, it was thank you for the warm well wishes of on my birthday, to our staff here at PHNX and everybody in my tweets. Beyond grateful for everybody. Excited for the next year. And then, we get out, see this practice, and it was a bit of a turd. It was a light day. It was a low tempo day for the Arizona Cardinals. And as far as on the practice field, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but off the practice field in the press room, defensive coordinator Nick Rallis giving us some updates on some position battles and some progress from some players. And then Johnny's favorite, Clayton Tune, took the podium, and we heard from the Cardinals rookie quarterback. Can't wait to deep dive all that today.
Yeah, Clayton Tune, he doesn't celebrate birthdays. He just throws footballs. The same thing cannot be said, however, for Colt McCoy. We're going to talk about that later. First, though, we got to see Nick Rallis today in the flesh with the media, being able to talk about everything as it relates to this defense. It was teased in the show title. And I think it's a low bar for some, but I mean, he is going to be compared like we do with JG and Cliff Kingsbury. Nick Rallis, who is under 30 years old, I believe is the youngest coordinator, not defensive coordinator, but the youngest coordinator currently in the NFL. He is going to be compared to Vance Joseph. Like it or not, at least in these early stages. And Bo, we talked a little bit off air today. It's just like, is there enough for him to work with to be able to have success with this group? And I think back seven, check. I like this group. We've talked about it. Edge rushers, I like the promise. You get B.J. Ojulari back. Myjai Sanders comes back. I think this group is going to find, 1 to 2 guys that can produce. The defensive line is a question mark, but Bo, you spoke with him today, and he does not seem to be concerned.
No, he doesn't. He seems a bit bullish on the group. I asked him early in the press conference, and we have his answer just on the Cardinals' defensive line play.
Yeah, yesterday was eye-opening for me putting the pads on, because I thought they did a great job in the run game, and it's a chance to work some power rushes a little bit more, and I thought they were collapsing the pocket well. It is a good group from top to bottom, and there's really good competition in there right now. Looking to see who's going to take the next step, not just in the run game, but as rushers, which is what we're going to get to see here as we get going with some pads and get into some scrimmage later in the week. But overall, I think the competition in that room is great. I'm happy with where they're at.
And that's fine, right? I mean, it could be some hyperbole. We don't know Nick Rallis too well. We don't know if he's going to be Bruce Arians and saying, like Blaine Grabbert's the best third-string quarterback in the NFL, and you don't know how to take that. But it's a big question mark. The biggest question mark maybe in the NFL. NFL.com had him as the top question mark in the league, earlier this offseason. And, that should give a little relief to Cardinals fans. I think like the Arizona Cardinals coaching staff, if you're going to put belief in the Arizona Cardinals coaching staff, which is a group of relative unknowns, right? And have proved you to giving you some confidence in that staff. If Nick Rallis is saying he likes the guys in that room right now, even though you don't know who they are, if he thinks that there's great competition and there's some players there, I'll believe him for right now. Absolutely.
I like this comment from Greg. Kept a straight face while talking about the defensive line. Impressive. It was impressive because I think if you played man on the street with average Arizona Cardinal fans coming from the stadium, coming into the stadium, and asked them, name 3 players that play defensive tackle for this team, it would be difficult for people to do that. And, I put it out there. You put it out there, Bo. It's like this unit very much is what it is this year, and it's up to Rallis and his head coach and Jonathan Gannon, who's a specialist on defense, as we know, to make the most of it. And I don't know. I feel like certainly Vance Joseph had more to work with last year with J.J. Watt and Zach Allen. Zach Allen presumably looks good with our friends at DMVR and the Denver Broncos. Like, that's what they had. But if you remember, like, the Cardinals weren't good against the run last year. They haven't been good against the run for, it seems like, the tenure of Kyler Murray's time in Arizona. So, like, I think that's where we have to start. Like, if this team can be stout up the middle of the defense and play the run well, the pass rush be damned, because so many times last year, this team they couldn't even get the third down. Remember, Bo? They just, for so many instances, second and third down conversions, first and second down conversions, quick possessions, long runs, gashing the defense. And that was supposed to be your strength last year. You had Watt and Zach Allen, and then in the middle, you had Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. It's like, what's not working here? Well, we know what wasn't working. It was the coordinator. It was the defense. And so now they're stripping it down and they're saying, okay, what does Zaven Collins do best? We think he can rush the passer. What's Isaiah Simmons do best? Cover in the back end as a free safety. So I am tempted. And by the way, like, I saw Kazir White in practice Friday and Saturday. He's a big dude. Like, he's not undersized. He might be 6 foot. He's got a thick lower body. He is built, I'm not going to say like Fred Warner, but that's the type of body he has. He's stout. I think Owen Pampo is somebody that's going to play that role eventually. Josh Woods had an interception. It's going to be a defense, in my opinion, that has growing pains early, but November, December, like, I do think, especially if they can gel against the run, it's a unit that will get better, not worse, like Vance's unit as the season goes on.
And it's going to have to be a necessity, right? I mean, It really is, especially if nobody emerges from that front seven or that defensive line. And I think maybe Saturday that's maybe an assignment that we take on, along with many, when we're out there amongst the Red Sea, asking if they can name. How many Cardinals defensive linemen can you name out there when we're at the red and white scrimmage? We were talking with Rallis today, and it's, when you talk to JG and you ask him about the cornerbacks, the defensive backs, Johnny, he lights up and he waxes poetic about that group. When you talk to the linebackers and you talk to a former linebacker, former Minnesota Golden Gopher like Nick Rallis, he lights up when he talks about that room. And he talks about kind of the prototype, right? They have a type. They asked primarily about Owen Papo, but he's like, all those guys are built the same. They're kind of the same guy, and they can do a lot of the similar things on the playing field. And there's not going to be a big drop off. It's not going to be like, hey, you've got Zaven Collins at middle linebacker, maybe Isaiah Simmons, and then you've got Ben Neiman. Like, it's not going to, or Nick Vigil. There's not a huge, huge gap between your starters and between, who's going to potentially be playing for this team if they suffer injuries or if somebody emerges. So it's good to see that, the continuity as far as the position, and then they've got a direction at that position. So the Arizona Cardinals, as far as, this defense and the unknowns of it, I think Nick Rallis did a pretty good job, and I think he's been good as far as the podium goes, breaking down, where people should be excited about it. You talk about Zaven Collins. He's a bit bullish on the third-year player who's switching positions.
Great to hear.
Moving from the middle of that defense, being the linebacker, to being an edge. And Nick Rallis, this is his thoughts on Zaven Collins.
Yeah, I mean, Zaven is a big, violent man. Does that answer the question? I think so. Yeah, no, he's doing great. I think we all, well, how are you going to use Zaven? That's the question, right? Everyone wants to know, and the answer is multiple ways, right? He's uniquely athletic for how big he is, and so his role can expand onto the edge. He can stack. He can rush inside. He can do a lot of different things, and it's a violent game in the box, whether you're on the edge, whether you're inside, and he displays that violence.
He's violent. He's big. I mean, you need more? He's violent and big. I mean, from a pass rush, I think that's immediately, like, when JG and Nick Rallis started to look at film at this and kind of break down the existing roster, and they saw that they had a specimen like Zaven Collins. They're like, what are we doing? What are they doing putting this guy in the middle? Like, he's a 1994. Like, can we either get him like giant shoulder pads and let him be like a massive linebacker from the mid 90s, or let's do what he's supposed to do in modern football and put him on the edge and have him become an ass kicker. It seems like they're pretty content with where his progress is right now. And Zaven's putting in the work, man. I mean, he's out there with Rod Rodriguez every day. I saw them. It was Rodriguez. It was Rallis. It was Zaven Collins. It was like the most attention on the sidelines before practice started to get going today. And they're just working on his technique. He's not going to be a guy that they, didn't take, time and make sure that he was ready for this position change. I mean, they are focusing on Zaven Collins, and he's seeing time with the ones already as an edge rusher. And that's going to be a guy that has the ability to immediately kind of hit the ground running in a new position.
Yeah. Zaven, to me, I think has the most clout of any pre-existing Cardinal not named, I don't know, like Zach Ertz, who played with Jonathan Gannon. Like Zaven Collins, to me, is everything you want from a player. He's coachable. He's a humble kid. He works hard, right? He played whatever position Vance wanted him to. And I would imagine, and I don't have this sourced, that Gannon and Austin Ford sat him down and is like, we're going to do a little bit of a reclamation project. We're going to move you to pass rusher. It might take a year. It might take 18 months. And we're going to get you performing at a high level. Look what I did with all those edge rushers. If you're JG, like Sweat and Gannon did with Brandon Ingram and Derek, the kid out of Tennessee, Hassan Reddick, too many pass rushers to name in Philadelphia. If I'm Zaven Collins, I'm just like, do whatever you need to do. I'll listen to whatever you say. You're my Mr. Miyagi, right? So I have more and like we had fun with Zaven because Paris Johnson Jr. was putting him on his back because that's what Paris Johnson Jr. does. But I have immense patience with Zaven. Like if this takes all year, he's getting better, I'm okay with it. Because I think the plan for Zaven is, yeah, you're going to pop. It might be this year, it might be late this year, but next year, like you're going to be a starting edge rusher for us with the expectation that you have 8 to 12 sacks. I think that's what they're working toward. I don't think this is with all due respect to Isaiah Simmons, like this is kind of a last stitch effort. You decline a guy's 5th year option. You put him at this position, you hope it works out, right? They're really kind of crafting a single high safety role for Isaiah to kind of salvage this thing because he's not under contract. I think Zaven, it's much more, hey man, you're out of position. We really think you can help our team. We really think you're going to be able to elevate what we do, especially as Rallis put it, from a run defense standpoint. And I'm excited for that. I think that's an easy box to check because I think Zaven, I know he can beat guards. I think Zaven's got the ability with his explosiveness that you saw at Tulsa and then early in his NFL career to work some tackles. But he's got to work on his technique, and it's not going to look perfect. Like Washington's got good offensive line play. The Giants have Andrew Thomas. Like he's going to be tested early, but if we're sitting here on Sundays and it looks rough, I trust this plan more so than like the quarterback situation. I have more trust in this than that.
Yeah, and it's something that if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, something to kind of pivot to, where you obviously had expectations for a rookie pass rusher that the Cardinals utilized the 2nd round pick and BJ Ujulari on. You're like, man, I want to see this LSU product, the youngest player in this team that's got this, really rock solid skill set that I've heard Nick Rallis really deep dive, and he likes his ability to get after quarterbacks and defend the run. And it seems like he believes he can be a complete pass rusher. And then you have to temper those expectations. But in its absence, I think you've got some pretty, good consolation prizes to see how Zaven can transition to this position and how Cam Thomas, being utilized correctly in his 2nd season after the previous regime just completely dropped the ball on that. I mean, tell me if you've heard that one before. They didn't handle somebody correctly and develop them correctly. But it's one that we've been intrigued. This position group, we've been intrigued by it all off season long, especially when voluntary OTAs opened up and there was Zaven and you were just seeing like, wait, he's working with Cam Thomas, Majay Sanders, Dennis Gardeck. Like those guys, they're pass rushers. He's not with the Kazir Whites. He's not with the Josh Woods of this team. He's a guy he's going to be on the edge and he's going to try to get after the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. So we have seen the Hollywood Brown tweet. We will bring that up. Not right now. We will get into what Hollywood Brown tweeted, where it's called it's a tease. We got a tease, and we are going to get into it. We can't wait to do so. But Nick Rallis did also talk about another 1st round pick and his progress as far as a position change. Nick Rallis talked about Isaiah Simmons, Johnny, as we move from Zaven Collins. This is Nick Rallis on Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, Isaiah has showed up and worked, and he has gotten better every single day, and I'm very pleased. You can see the athletic tools, from just getting comfortable from OTAs till now. The athletic tools are just taking over, and he can cover range. I'm excited to when we really get scrimmaging, and the pads just got on yesterday, but he can take the ball away. I know those plays are coming, so I'm pleased with his progress. He knows what he has to work on. He's going to keep striving every day to improve those things. And yeah, like you said, I think everybody, not just Isaiah, but everyone in the defense, secondary, starting to get more comfortable with the scheme, let it loose, go play.
What have you seen so far?
That athleticism is taking over, and I don't think that Isaiah Simmons has been put in a position in his career to where his skill set has just been reactionary and he can just go out there and play. And that's exciting. Like I don't know if it's, where he's talking about Zaven Collins and he says he's big and he's violent and he's saying all those catchy, like trigger words that are great, but he's saying also some things that are good about Isaiah Simmons and that he's going to be able to take the ball away. What do we know even through like the inconsistencies of playing time and as far as impact on a down-to-down basis, we did see, 4 big game-changing plays from Isaiah Simmons. And if Nick Rallis, and this is a business relationship at this point, at this stage in Isaiah Simmons' career, for him to work in concert with Rallis and JG, for him to continue his NFL career, his professional football career, it only benefits him. He's got to be, this good soldier, and he has to listen to what they're going to tell him. Otherwise, he's a guy that's going to get, a minimum style contract and go try to find a way onto a roster on another team. This is a big year for Isaiah Simmons, and I think everybody understands that, and they understand that they can try to get the most out of him so far in his 4 NFL careers.
Yeah, he's a hired mercenary. Yeah, it's what can you do for me and what can I do for you? And that makes me sound like Isaiah's a bad teammate. I don't think he's a bad teammate, but I think he's a guy that you get your 5th-year option declined as a top 10 pick. Like, it's not a good trend. And he could sit there and say, well, my development was hampered by the prior regime. I would totally agree with that. I would agree with Jason Krell, the $1.99 super chat. This regime is better than the old garbage regime. That might be harsh to some people, but I think Zaven and Isaiah are poster children for mismanaged development under Vance Joseph. It's one of the biggest reasons I didn't want Vance Joseph anywhere near this team, even more so to some degree than Cliff Kingsbury. Because at least Cliff, Rondell Moore will play, younger players will play offensively from time to time. It's like, if you're Vance Joseph, to my co-host's point, it's like, hey, I want Ben Neiman out there over these first round picks, 16th overall pick, 8th overall pick. It's like, what the hell are we doing? And so if I'm Isaiah, I'm just like, okay, how can I fill up my stats sheet? How can I help my team win? How can I set myself up for a payday? Because that's, this might be the only payday that he gets, depending on how his career trajectory goes. I think him playing free and easy, like when he beat the shit out of Trey Lance at the goal line against the Niners 2 years ago, that's the Isaiah Simmons we want. Mm-hmm. And then how he took his big bear paw and stuck the ball against Andy Dalton and had a pick 6. He's a phenom. Nobody's ever argued. This guy's a unicorn when he has the football, when he's making plays. It's everything else in between that, right? It's all flash, and then there's very little substance. Like, he's the antithesis of the opposite of Budda Baker, where it's like Budda will make every tackle, he'll make every play, ugly or not. He'll run down players where it's like, oh, that looks like a long touchdown. Budda's the last line of defense. Like, we have to get Simmons to that point where he is cleaning up somebody else's mess defensively. And that's what you're asking to do as a free safety. You're going to ask to help the corner. You're going to be asked to help the linebackers. Occasionally he might rush the passer, but again, like I just have immense confidence because Gannon has done it CJ Gardner-Johnson was, let's be real here, was a nobody in the casual mind of NFL fans. This guy gets a big-time contract from the Detroit Lions, albeit for 1 year. He's a household name during the Super Bowl run, and he had a lot to do with that because he bought in. Gannon is a DB all-star maker. And my argument consistently has been, if Isaiah Simmons is not unlocked under this coaching staff, I don't know if it's going to happen with any other staff.
No, I think that's the correct observation and take on that. And he's a kingmaker as far as defensive backs go. And Simmons understands that. Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, Marco Wilson, who is a very willing listener out there. He realizes that year 3 is big for him as well, as far as trying to stick around here and make some money in this league. It was great to hear. I agree with was it Jim Bodacious? Love hearing from assistant coaches. Absolutely. I mean, you can hear from the head coach only so much, and it's gonna. Johnny, you were saying it, like Jonathan Gannon, we've heard from him a lot, and now to hear some different voices give their takes, especially where they kind of specialize on this football team, from Petzing to Rallis and these up and coming coaching stars, and their takes on the personnel that they're going to be given right out of the gates. Really, really fascinating.
Let me give you a quick breakdown of what I've heard through people I trust on Nick Rallis. You guys can take it or leave it. So he's always at the facility. He's an absolute football junkie under the age of 30 and has been compared to a defensive Josh McDaniels, not as a head coach, but Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator savant with, the Patriots once upon a time. People are comparing Nick Rallis to that. And there was a big reason while Philadelphia and their GM threw a piss fit when Jonathan Gannon took Nick Rallis with him to Arizona, and Nick Rallis was supposed to be the defensive coordinator in waiting. And Nick Rallis like, I'm going with JG. And JG convinced him to come coach the Arizona Cardinals defense. They all understand, like, this year they want to succeed. They want to imprint the foundation of what's going to be their success from years on out. But they also know that, like, this is a learning curve for everybody, and they thrive in that. It's like this guy could be coordinating the Super Bowl defense. I don't know how much he's being paid in Arizona. He likes the big picture direction of this franchise, right? And it's like, I'm sure he likes Nick Sirianni, and Jeffrey Lurie probably offered him a blank check, but it's just, at the end of the day, he goes where his people go, and his people are Jonathan Gannon, and that gets me fired up. That's why I have an immense confidence in this defense.
If you mute the noise, if you sift through all the Florio bullshit about, was JG focused on winning the Super Bowl, and you really look at what maybe riled Philly up and pissed them off the most as far as the hiring of Jonathan Gannon, it's that he took Nick Rallis with him. I don't think that anybody, that had to have been probably the biggest sticking point for that organization. Watching, their defensive coordinator, probably not great, heavy as the crown when you win the NFC and you're an on the rise team. People are want to get your coaches and get your players. But, the fact that he cherry picked this up and coming, rising star coach and brought him with them and they couldn't, recruit him back, that probably pissed him off the most. So, Nick Rallis, here's the biggest difference between him and McDaniels, and you can already see it. Like, Nick Rallis gives you really, really in-depth answers. And I don't think McDaniels has the communication skills that Nick Rallis has. And I think that that's what could make Nick Rallis a more successful head coach, to where McDaniels hasn't been able to show that, going from, an elite coordinator. And I think that's fair for McDaniels, what he was able to accomplish in New England and why he's been a subpar coach. And that's putting it nicely at the NFL level. I think Nick Rallis has the ability to really communicate with his players and communicate with anybody for that matter.
I promise we're going to talk about Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown in 1 second. But first, I want to remind everybody, if you're not on BetMGM, what are you waiting for? So again, we're going to be at BetMGM every single football Sunday, home and away, beginning with week 1 against the Commanders. And in the meantime, guys, it's the premier sportsbook app. I've got it right here. Some great bets on tap tonight in Major League Baseball. But then additionally, like, you can bet on the preseason. You can bet on the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Denver Broncos at home next Friday. I love that. I love the Cardinals money line in that aspect when that goes live. Again, check that out. I also like everything James Conner is over this year, ladies and gentlemen. How could you not expect number 6 to go off in an offense right now that is going to run the ball effectively? That remains to be seen. But what doesn't remain to be seen is your ability to sign up at BetMGM and use that bonus code PHNX. Now, there's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our folks here in Arizona, place your first bet offer, receive up to $1,000 in bonus bets if it loses. So again, if you put a bunch of dollars on James Conner hitting his over in rushing yards, which I think, guys, is just over 600 yards, like, how is he not hitting that? Again, receive up to $1,000 back if your bonus bet loses. PHNX is the bonus code. Sign up now. Tell them PHNX Cardinals sent you. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to our guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 Nevada. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
BetMGM, one of our partnerships that's taking care of us, getting a $5 bonus bet today just for my birthday, Johnny. I'm just going to turn. What do you think I'm going to turn that $5 into? I mean, a free $5. BetMGM's is gifting me, and I'm just going to. What was the bet you talked about in the end?
Well, I talked about James Conner's over, but now I'm thinking there's a certain team that's plus 200 to win week 1 against the Washington Commanders. And there's some news that could be prevalent to that bet right now. So maybe take a free 5 spot,
right?
BetMGM, and place it on the Cards money line week 1.
You only get birthday gifts from a great organization like BetMGM and Four Peaks. In my email, I got a birthday present from Four Peaks. They're gonna give me a nice little dessert of my choice, and where there's no place better to celebrate your birthday than Four Peaks. Get over there, have yourself a beer, have yourself a fantastic dinner, apps, entrees, and of course a free dessert, and then have more beer because that's what they specialize in. They got the Kilt Lifter, they got the Wow Wheat, they've got a whole line of IPAs that's going to be suited to your taste standards. Find out which one you love the most. Check out Four Peaks, 8th Street in Tempe, the OJ location, and also check out them on your socials at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub for the latest on Arizona's premier craft brewery. We asked, of course, that you be 21 if you dabble in their beer, and of course that you do it responsibly.
We do not have that Hollywood Brown graphic yet, but we do have Hector's $5.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, we've got it?
Yeah. Are you ready for it, though?
I don't know. Producer Emma says we don't have it.
That was a while ago.
Okay. We do have it now?
Yep.
Okay.
Here we go.
Let's check it out.
So JPA Football, a news Twitter account, had Adrian Peterson tearing his ACL, came back 8 months later and did this in 2012. Over 2,000 yards rushing, 12 tutties, 6 yards per carry, first team All-Pro, 2012 most valuable player. Adrian Peterson was simply different. That was quote tweeted by Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Hollywood Brown saying, "One up next." And then the hands clasped together praying emoji. One up next. He's going to follow up in the footsteps of Adrian Peterson if we're speculating on what Hollywood Brown makes of Kyler Murray coming back just a little, would it be over, just a little over 8 months later after his ACL injury, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest story of the day. And do you think Hollywood knew what he was doing when he did this? Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's nobody who knows Kyler Murray better. I don't care if it's Gannon or Drew Petzing or every trainer in that building. I would say it's Kyler Murray's parents, and then this man right here knows the Arizona Cardinals signal caller better than anybody else. If you don't think that this is legitimate, Hollywood Brown would not put this up without Kyler Murray's consent. And I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And I think this, I mean, people say we're making too much out of this. This reopens the discussion, in my opinion. Hollywood Brown, the best friend of Kyler Murray, coming out and saying prayer hands like aiming for K1 to be next. There's a big fucking difference between that and PUP garbage seeing week 6. Let me repeat myself. You don't put that out there, and then the team just a couple weeks ago is teasing week 1 in flight plan to, I don't know. Right now, we were going to spin the second segment. We'll talk about it. Like Colt McCoy didn't throw the football today. Maintenance Colt McCoy, who's doing USFL color games in the spring, and I like Colt McCoy. It's like, is this all kind of under the radar and now coming out to be like the team knows? Is that what's happening, Bo Brock? Because again, Clayton Tune, I like Clayton Tune as a 5th round rookie. If that's the plan, and Colt McCoy can't throw every third day, you have got to know, and this was our argument in the spring when they didn't sign anybody, that Kyler Murray can come back sooner rather than later. I don't think this guarantees anything other than how can he not be off a PUP by the season starts? Like there's legitimacy all over this. People are going to argue. People are going to say we're reading too much into it. It's Hollywood Brown that is with Kyler Murray all the time. This is telegraphed, in my opinion. K1 week 1 is open for business again.
There's not a whole lot I can say sometimes regarding Kyler Murray because we see him a lot during closed portions of training camp, right? I mean, until he comes out and like he was today, hanging out with Jonathan Gannon, kind of on the back end of the practice, watching the Cardinals take, half speed reps and on a light day. That's the most we see from Kyler Murray. But I can say this, I was in the Cardinals locker room post-practice and Hollywood Brown came in and he sat and talked with his best friend Kyler for a while. And then, I make my way back to do the show and then here's this tweet. And, like you said, this guarantees nothing. But also what I think this does is they're talking about it. Him and are talking about it. It's an open-ended conversation. They are having conversations as far as when's he going to get back and what he's going to do when he returns to the playing field.
This is what it is with Colt McCoy right now. And we've got Hector in the chat. I agree with this. $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my guy. Just showing some love. Oh, yeah, tune over McCoy. Here's what they're doing with Colt McCoy. They're spitting and they're getting him ready to go out there and play about 6 quarters, right? It's like, Colt, let's get you in the lab. Let's work on that shoulder. Don't throw more than 30 passes over the course of the next 36 hours. We got to get you from the Commanders, and then we're going to take it one game at a time if you have to play against the Commanders. That's what's happening, in my opinion. Colt McCoy resting his arm every third day does not mean, cannot mean Kyler Murray can't come back until week 6. There's nothing that computes with that. You watch Colt McCoy not practice, and you think he can get the baton to Kyler Murray in October. That's been my argument since day one. And it's not fair to Clayton Tune. That's also been our argument on this show. And now you have this put out. It's just like Colt McCoy is the contingency plan. Week 1 if Kyler Murray can't go. But if he can't go, it's not going to be long after that. I just, you're not putting this stuff out there if he at least is not going to try. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Kyler Murray is done hearing about the Kyler Murray slander. He's done hearing the garbage. He's done hearing about he's missing the whole year. He certainly knows and hears about the Caleb Williams stuff. His offensive coordinator and his general manager are being asked about Caleb Williams in the press conference, are being asked about taking quarterbacks next April. And then this tweet comes out.
Right.
Now, over my dead body, says Kyler Murray, I'm coming back. I think this is a great day for Cardinal fans. Again, a lot of people are thinking I'm overreacting. Yesterday, I said that there are co-number 1 quarterbacks. I still believe that on this roster. And now Kyler Murray, K1 in week 1. Buckle up.
Everything you just said it's null and void now.
No,
because you brought back the stupid co-quarterbacks thing with Clayton Tune and Colt McCoy. And I'm getting slandered in the comments because they think I'm carrying water for Colt McCoy. Look, I just think if you're looking at a start to the season without Kyler Murray, I think the more reasonable approach would be to take the veteran quarterback, not a guy that threw 3 interceptions against SMU, the powerhouse that is the Mustangs.
How dare you? Josh Allen completed like 2 passes against Iowa. As a senior.
It took him a little bit to find his way at the NFL level. I don't think that Clayton Tune is not going to find his way. I think that he's a great prospect. And
I will not argue if it's one game of either. I would have Colt McCoy in there 100%. If I knew right now, and we might know. I think we might know what's going down based on that tweet alone.
Producer Emma, can we see the tweet one more time from Hollywood Brown? So this was it was via JPA Football, a news source on Twitter for NFL News. Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, came back 8 months later and did this in 2012 and goes through just an absurd season, over 2,000 yards, 12 tutties, first team All-Pro, NFL offensive MVP. AP was simply different. And then Hollywood Brown responds with one up next. Number 1 in the Arizona Cardinals, of course, is Kyler Murray.
8 months.
And, I said this a couple weeks ago when he got put on the pup and it continues. It doesn't pretty much slam the door on him returning earlier than people expected. That if there's an exception, if somebody's going to follow in the footsteps of another former Sooner who's just as equally as an athletic freak, it's a guy who's drafted in the top 10 in 2 professional sports leagues in Kyler Murray to Adrian Peterson.
I think Austin Ford was given every chance yesterday to kind of dispel Kyler's early return, saying we have immense confidence in Colt and Clayton, and we're going to make have immense caution with Kyler's recovery. What did Ossenfort say? He didn't say that. What did he say? He said, we're going to play Kyler when Kyler's ready to play. When Kyler tells us he's ready to play, he's going to play. Does anybody think that's going to be in October at this rate? We got a long way to go. As K1 said to us on Saturday, at the time, it's not even August yet. I don't think this guarantees anything, but I certainly think that it gives a significant doubt to him being on PUP to start the year.
I'm looking at the door and I see light. It's sneaking through, right? It's not completely shut, and that's important. That's I think that especially since Imani Ossenfort said it most recently, this is not a linear injury. It's not something where it's just progress and you work your way up, right? And through a timeline, it's something where you have good days, you have bad days. But if you put him on PUP and you anticipate him being on PUP to start the season, and you close the door now, then that means there's just zero chance. It could continue to be the slimmest chance, and we're blowing up a Hollywood Brown quote tweet too much, and I'm sorry if we're putting expectations out there that shouldn't be, but it keeps the door open. The door is ajar, and it feels like it's going to be ajar for the remainder of training camp and the preseason until we figure out what the Cardinals are really going to do. Are they going to keep him on PUP to start the season? Are they going to IR him, or are they going to put him on the active roster? And he still very well couldn't play week 1, but keeping the door open for him to come back before week 4. So you love it. I love it's fuel to the fire. And that's, what this organization needs, especially at the quarterback position.
Everybody in the chat ran with it, and you guys dictate what we talk about, not how we think, but we're on the same page as everybody in this chat. You see that tweet and we're tagged in it and everybody sees it. That's not a nothing tweet. People who have an agenda against the team and have an agenda against Kyler Murray will say, you guys are making too much out of that. I mean, they're literally together all the time. They're together you don't think Kyler Murray has told Hollywood Brown, I'm ready to come back as soon as possible to stick it to everybody. I want to be out there throwing the rock with you. Remember, they were robbed of a chance to play prolonged stretches last year because, Kyler missed a little bit of time, obviously, at the end of the year. And then Hollywood missed all that time after the Seattle game. Both of them are basically, it's like Kyler's not playing year to year. Hollywood is. Hollywood needs a new contract too. Hollywood wants to play with his best friend, and Hollywood's with him, sees how his progress is going. I also just feel like Kyler Murray, to me, has an opportunity, and I don't want to put a false sense of hope within the fan base and put too much on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray can squash even more of the narratives against him if he comes back week 1. Now, that's not fair to say, because what if he plays poorly? What if he re-injures himself? There will still be skeptics. But the reaction to his injury and subsequent projections and predictions of what was going to happen was missing the whole year, sitting out most of the season. I mean, you put the Superman cape on you and you come back week 1. I don't care if he throws 3 interceptions that first game, as long as he's healthy. It's just he proved everybody wrong and he worked his ass off, and you can't put a litmus test or measure how much a guy wants it. And I think that's in some way what Hollywood Brown is trying to prepare us all for is Kyler Murray is going to come back, and he's going to come back a new man and a new player ready to kick everybody's ass. You don't just put that out there. This is not a soft landing spot on a pillow, after Thanksgiving. He wants to ride or die with K1 for 17 games this season.
And I see some truth to what Jalen Blair saying. Maybe he just thinks he's going to come in and ball out. Not necessarily he's going to be there from game 1 through 17 games of the season. What's it going to? What would it take for Kyler Murray? When would it be a realistic time for him to come back? If he misses the opener, for him to come back and claim the Comeback Player of the Year award. What's your game in mind?
I think he can miss 2 to 3 games. But again, to do that, you got to play well and you got to make your team viable. I would think to get Comeback Player of the Year, he would either need to have a huge year statistically, or they'd have to have a winning record in his games started.
Yeah.
And people say I'm nuts. I think this receiving core is going to be good. I think it's going to be underrated. They have a 4th place schedule. I'm not going to get off on a tangent here, Bo Brock, but what have we been saying since the post-draft? everybody who predicts this team's going to be terrible, that's fine. That's your prerogative. If it's Colt McCoy and this defensive tackle group, I'm with you. But the minute you insert a top 10 quarterback in the NFL into your lineup, that's going to put an emphasis on play action, run game, and then showcasing a lot of this new weaponry, they're going to be in more games than people think. They're going to be much more competitive and win more games than people think.
Yeah. Jalen Blair, mid-October. There's still, what do you say? If he's back mid-October, that's still a win. People forget people never come back. And the same from this injury. Look at Chase Young. It took him over a year to get back. We got Ben Cork saying New York home opener. Free matter for the blind saying, I think game 3. Vanessa saying, I've said for a long time, I think it's going to be before week 3. Look, I'm in for all of those timelines. And also, the comeback player of the year, it's kind of a sham of an award. I'll say that. Like Ryan Tannehill got it after he came back from sucking. He was bad at football and then he wasn't. And they said, hey, here's your trophy for comeback player of the year. And then there's legitimate, reasons like Alex Smith or Adrian Peterson.
One of the shows you were away for when Shane came on, we talked a little gambling. DeMar Hamlin's going to win the award.
Yeah.
He's like plus 10,000, which is great. That's fine. And I don't want to put extra pressure on Kyler Murray. This show is doing a parade, down Front Street if Kyler Murray's not on PUP to start the year, because that sends the message that it literally becomes day to day. It's not, we'll see you in 4 to 6 weeks. It's literally, could he play this weekend? Could he play next weekend? Is he practicing today? What is that? It becomes the biggest story in the Valley, with all due respect to everything else, when Kyler Murray is removed from the PUP. And I said it was 50-50 a couple days ago that he would be. Now I'm saying 80-20 based on this tweet right here. I don't think they're going to put him on PUP. They may keep him stashed on the roster.
I thought you were saying
for
week
a couple
1.
weeks.
I apologize.
What's that? Oh, for week 1. No, I'm with everybody in the chat. If somebody came to me right now and said, Johnny, would you take week 3? 100% I would take that.
Yeah.
Even if it meant he's healthy and he's sitting the first 2 weeks and I didn't know about it, hypothetically, give me the first month of the season. That's incredible. And then that feeds into the narrative. Like I'm banging on Colt McCoy. It's an easy target right now because I don't want to watch him for 6 weeks. If I know that Colt McCoy, it's a one and done scenario or it's 2 games max, I feel way better about what's happening right now. And I understand that that's the plan. I just know, and have been talking with some folks close to the team. It's like, they don't know really. Like, honestly, they tell you they don't know. They don't know. And so it could conceivably be Colt McCoy until mid-October. That's a horror show for Cardinal fans. It's not, it's just not going to be a good thing.
But this is evidence of Kyler Murray in his inner circle. They're talking about it. They're talking about an earlier than expected return, enough to where he puts up a season that comps to what Adrian Peterson did at the running back position. And that's all you'll take it, August 2nd, before the season.
You are literally outside your mind if you don't think that tweet has meaning. I can't help you. If you think that that's just Hollywood on it at home on his couch, just like, oh yeah, let me just quote tweet this and just give my boys some love. It's like, they're in the loop. We got a nice little birthday super chat from my guy Bo Brock, Alex, $4.99. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Bo. Use this. Go get yourself some Four Peaks beer. How about that pumpkin porter coming out here pretty soon? That might be one to try. Alex,
they tapped it.
Yeah, Alex, come out to BetMGM this fall. We'll buy a pumpkin porter if you're in the area, my friend.
Pumpkin, double pumpkin. Thank you for the absolutely for the Four Peaks beer. But this is the gift. Hollywood Brown. Just that's the gift everybody was. I want to share it with everyone. This little just optimistic tweet from Hollywood Brown. And before this, his last tweet was July 27th. And he tweets like once every couple days. It's just not something where he's just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks and seeing what gets, a bunch of likes or retweets. I mean, like I said, he was talking to Kyler an hour before this thing hit your timeline. You
don't think Kyler Murray thinks of himself in the same caliber of freakish athlete as Adrian Peterson? People are going to scoff at that. It's like, no. You're drafting the top 10 of both pro baseball and pro football. You're the first overall pick, and you can move like Kyler Murray can in the open field, and you're the winningest high school quarterback in the history of Texas football, and you won the Heisman Trophy. Like Kyler Murray and Adrian Peterson went to Oklahoma. They both won Heisman trophies. Kyler thinks of himself in that freakish category, and he should. So very, very much telegraphed. You don't have to convince me. We saw this. People put us in tap with this when the show started, and I saw that. I'm just like, well, we're back on this. Put the speculation of PUP on the side for a second. We know where Kyler Murray is. His mindset's week one.
What about when you need a nice burrito? Where's your mindset go?
You know where it goes. A little breakfast burrito from my friends. Let's hear everybody in the chat. Who are my friends who give me the best breakfast burritos? It's our folks at Burrito Express, Bo.
No doubt about it. Burrito Express, of course, crushing the burrito game in multiple Valley locations. Of course, their Tempe location, you can go get yourself a delicious burrito, breakfast burrito. You can get the bean and cheese, the OG. You can get the machaca. They all go super hard over at Burrito Express, the fine folks over there. When ASU announced that they were going to have a huge partnership, unveiling today, I thought that it was going to be the Burrito Express Sun Devil Stadium. Unfortunately, it was some
that would be better,
some bank or whatever, but it would have been way better. More synonymous, of course, with Tempe's Burrito Express than that. Grab a burrito and follow Burrito Express on Twitter at Burrito EXP. Unbelievable partner here for PHNX, Johnny.
I love this comment from Nick. I'm here for it, and people are going to say we're nuts. I agree with Nick. I'm sorry, but if K1 comes back and it's like the old K1, I think the Cardinals sneak into the wild card playoff game. Listen, I'm not going to say that's likely. If you get Kyler Murray for 17 games, I think you take the prediction for this season and you wipe your ass with it. And you just say, hey, game on, new season. Let's check it out. I'll tell you what I don't wipe my ass with are my Shady Rays, because they're flipping fantastic. Best pair of sunglasses I've ever had. Listen, I wear them in the pool. I wear them to exercise. I wear them out and about in the East Valley because, again, premier sunglasses, not a premium price. Check them out. Use that promo code PHNX. You're going to get 50% off 2+ pairs. Hello. They've got so many awesome selections. Again, they look like they should be way more expensive than they actually are, yet they're super, super durable. So go to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code PHNX, 50% off 2+ pairs of sunglasses. Try it for free. 5 stars from over 250,000 people. They are tremendous. I can't wait to buy more. I got a pair for every member of my family, my in-laws, my parents. I'm just like, guys, you have to check out these sunglasses. They're unbelievable, and they are so, so affordable. Do not miss it. Check it out at shadyrays.com. Okay, so hard transition, from a smooth transition to a hard one. Okay.
So, tell you something I don't wipe my ass with.
We're fired up over Kyler Murray. The Cardinals would like you all to be fired up over their new stadium food. Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Cardinals have introduced a bunch of new stadium food. I'm guessing they want people to figure out or forget that they didn't pay for player food. They're like, no. Look, we can make good food here, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. So a bunch of different outlets have reported on this, and I took what I thought were the most interesting choices.
Okay.
I'm going to pose it to my co-host. My co-host has not seen these in depth yet. We haven't done a deep dive yet. So I'm going to pose these to you, Bo Brack, one at a time, and I want everybody in the chat to participate as well and tell me, thumbs up, would you eat this? Thumbs down, you're going to pass on this if you're at a Cardinal game. Not if you're at home in front of a couch, because I think we damn near eat anything.
It's the copper drop, right? We're stealing a segment. The Suns do copper drop, Emma? Yeah, PHNX Suns.
But I want you to envision yourself eating this at the stadium.
Yeah.
Okay? So copper drop, number one, let's go with the Mexican street corn dog. This is $10 at State Farm Stadium. Crispy breaded corn dog covered in Chico corn, Mexican, creme, cottage cheese, chipotle mayo, jalapeno sauce, available to purchase at State Farm Stadium. Again, $10. You copping or dropping this?
Absolutely, $10. That's decent stadium pricing right there. And street corn always goes hard, and it's tough to screw up. So, yeah, absolutely.
Too.
I'm in on that.
Next up, these are the Southwest egg rolls. These are a little pricier, $15. So they're egg rolls. They have diced chicken, Chico corn, black beans, avocado ranch, which I love, pico de gallo, Again, a new entry, the Southwest Egg Rolls, cop or drop.
I'm going to drop that one. A little bit pricey for 3 little egg rolls. And I just, I'm all for fusion. I'm all about that. But this seems like it was done wrong.
Free matter for the blind, thumbs up. Cop, getting some love for them. I think they look a little like burnt in those photos, and like those are supposed to be your best pictures. There are egg rolls that look like they'll melt in your mouth. Those look a little rough.
Look like Jack in the Box egg rolls.
Yeah,
the ones that have been on this. Yeah,
they've
been on the rollers too long.
Emma, help me pronounce this next one. Look, Club Croquettes. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes,
maybe
croquettes.
They're $12. They look good. $12 for these little fried ham turkey Swiss Monte Cristo balls. Raspberry sauce, powdered sugar. Definitely copying, I think, to Eat Bowl, but for $12, you buying this at the stadium?
No, but here's what I'll say: if there's somebody with an hors d'oeuvre just tray, I'll probably pop a couple of these bad boys in my mouth, just in one motion, just throwing them in. I mean,
you're big time, so
yeah, but I wouldn't seek these out.
Yeah, you're not going up and saying, give me those for $12.
Right.
I've saved the best 2 for last because I think they're incredibly polarizing. The last one is just unbelievable. I can't believe they did this, and the photo is unbelievable. That's a hell of a tease for you. Foot-long fries, they are what they say they are, $9. A lot to take in with this. It's drizzled with sour cream, hickory ranch sauce, a little bit of chives. Why are they so long? Why can't you cut them in half and give me more toppings?
Disturbing.
Yeah. These are like alien fingers.
I think what we've done as a civilization, as a society with the potato, we've done a lot of great things, right? And including just the fry, right? You got waffle fries, you've got shoestring fries, you've got a fry for any steak fries. This foot-long fries, there's no way that they're crispy. There's no way that you can deep fry them a certain amount of length. There's no perfect timing that you can pull these from the deep fryer to where they're not just big foot-long soggy fries. And I'm out on that. And how much were they? I'm sorry, I missed that.
They were $9. They're one of the more affordable things, but can you imagine like somebody eating these? Like, I
imagine you and Mrs. Venerable, Lady in the Tramp style, on each end and meeting in the middle once you devour your foot-long
That's a horrifying image. Free matter for the blind. There's some GMO in those potatoes. Laugh out loud. All right. I saved the best for last. Drum roll, please. The coup de grace, the chef's kiss, the big red chicken and bunt cake for $14. I said before the show, it looks like something my kids made. Jalapeno, honey glazed chicken tenders served over maple glazed red velvet bunt cake. I think nice idea, but there's a lot going on here.
That's not a nice idea. It's two. If you separate them, they're two solid ideas on their own, but you don't mix these two. You don't say, hey, let's launch some chicken tendies into some bunt cake. Let's just wedge them in there. What is going on here? I mean, I like the chicken tendies. Like my mouth started watering a little bit. In red velvet bunt cake, yeah, I'm on board with both of those. But it's not something. It's not something like peanut butter and jelly is delicious, and so is our pork chops if you're done right. But you don't mix the two. You don't make a peanut butter jelly and pork chop sandwich.
Coney in the chat, looks like the whole organization is tanking, food included. I've seen some of and this isn't everything. They've done some other stuff, and they're a little bit more conventional. But these are big swings by the Cardinals. Can we not just get a good burger or a good pork tenderloin, something like that? They kind of go off the deep end. That to me, can we get that picture up one more time? Because I kind of a little bit want to dissect what we're seeing here. The red velvet has like, I don't know what's the green stuff in it. It's not mold. I know that, but
it's chocolate chips, Johnny.
Oh, okay.
So most red velvet bundt cakes specifically have chocolate chips to keep the moisture. Because bundt cakes are traditionally more of a moist type of cake. So it just holds the moisture, and yeah.
Hey, Emma, did you work at like everything bundt cakes back before this show?
No, I just have a lot of like weird food knowledge.
Cole in the chat, you get a kit. Here's what I will say. Cole's right. You get a chicken and a cake for $14. That's a win.
In for that. That's not bad. But then you probably have remnants of like fried chicken skin in your bun cake, and I'm out on that.
Interesting selection. Again, we got those from the Republic, and they're all over the internet. The Cardinals are introducing some new choices to the menu.
The elite menu is just across the way from State Farm Stadium. BetMGM Sportsbook has the best nachos in town. It's got a great burger. The entire menu goes absolutely nuts. They're not gonna just try to come up. They're not gonna like smoke a bunch of weed and just kind of come up with crazy munchie combos like that. This happened. Like, it was. They were hanging out and like, all right, we've been tasked by the organization to come up with some exotic food combinations that are gonna get some headlines. And this is what they did. And some guy, he stopped watching Pineapple Express and he said, "Hey, I've got an idea. How about we take chicken tendies, which everybody loves, and then everybody loves a red velvet bun cake, and let's just smash them together."
Yeah, so much good food in the Valley. Maybe, do what you want to do. Maybe take a pass on that. Maybe invest your funds in Illegal Pete's because they've got some great food. Kick back, enjoy. Their margs are fantastic. They've got buckets of high noons for just $22. So you can get 5 high noons at Illegal Pete's when you're dabbing on all their tremendous food. Their menu is unbelievable. You get those 5 high noons for $22. Illegal Pete's, follow them on Instagram. They're fantastic. A staple here in the Valley. Great food. We're so fortunate. Like all of our partners that we partner with, coincidentally, have great food. Burrito Express, BetMGM, Illegal Pete's. Check them all out. I mean, like, are you going to be tempted to try some of that food when you're there at game day? Ever? Are you ever going to just go get the bundt cake and chicken tenders?
No.
Not going to do that.
No, I won't.
It's fair enough.
I wish I could expect. I'm just not. No,
Johnny,
not.
we kind of want Bo for the post game. So if we want Bo for the post game, stay away.
Bo can't make
violently
it.
I had the egg rolls and the bundt cake chicken tendies, and I can't leave the press box restroom.
We have a huge announcement incoming within the next 24 hours as it relates to this show. One of the biggest things that we have done, not only PHNX Cardinals, but PHNX ALLCITY in general, Mr. Bo Brack. And we've got something to share with you guys. We've been teasing it, Bo, for some time, and tomorrow it goes public.
We can't really elaborate on this, but you can see this graphic for our audio only listeners. There is there's a person, right? And it looks like the shadow of maybe a player, and it says "Coming soon, PHNX Cardinals podcast."
I think a lot of people asked me privately. I know they did.
Mm-hmm.
Guests. I know we can't really say a whole lot, but
yeah,
we've had some big guests on the show, and they haven't gotten their own hype train private graphic. So
no,
this is a big deal for the show, and I think the future and the insight we're getting on this show. So keep your sights set on PHNX Cardinals on Twitter. Check out, of course, gophnx.com.
Wait, can you dispel this? Can you confirm or deny this from Ben, Johnny, and Pads? Is that an old? Is it maybe just you're going to hit the playing field again? Are you going to vie to be the quarterback? Well,
listen, they don't want any part of me during these pajama practices, right? They'll be in pajamas. I'll be suited up in pads, and it'll be ugly. Me trying to cover somebody out there. By the way, did you see? I think it was on Twitter. We don't have the clip. Go check it out. Cam Cox, Channel 12. Budda Baker trying to cover Greg Dortch today. Is that guy just?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday, gotcha.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
He's unbelievable. Bidwell.
I would never do. I don't think I'd ever do that to Budda. I think what's Cam doing? I mean, Cam got a one-on-one with Budda, and he's going to do him that dirty by putting Dortch, put him on ice skates out there.
This lot of moving parts, a lot of good stuff. Did Bo get his QB1 Colt on the show? Ooh, great question, Bo. Is that what we're doing? That'd be tough. That'd be a tough sell for Colt to come on this show after the last week.
Can you imagine it coming soon? And Johnny had a whole week of just trashing him from
hey,
Saturday
Colt,
to
you, man. Colt's like, I have the internet. I've seen what you've done. Ben Cork, Johnny with the tricep implant. Implants? Come on now. Show your
Can
guy
you confirm, or is it Isaiah Simmons?
I can't say. We can't say.
Did you finally did you finally get your white whale? Did you finally get Isaiah to come on the show?
We'll see. I guess you guys will have to wait till tomorrow. In the meantime, become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Hat, shirt for free. This is a big deal for this company. Isaiah Simmons is going to come on the show, beat the shit out of me. That's what's going to happen. It's just we're live, and it's just I'm running away from Isaiah in an empty stadium.
Oh man, that would go crazy as far as views. And you'd be taking one for the team for sure.
It was that. Will I sacrifice my body?
We're just sitting there brainstorming session, like, hey, what could get more eyes and ears on this podcast? Johnny's like, well, I've been a real shithead to Isaiah Simmons. I think he'd beat my ass on a live stream. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Saul, can you make a few calls? Let's go. Let's just Isaiah and I in a warehouse somewhere, undisclosed location. He's
Isaiah Simmons like, bet I'll be there.
He's like cross promoting. He's beat my ass with one hand, and he's like, "These are my highlights from last year. This is why I should be paid." Yeah, Faf, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Chase, let Simmons tackle Johnny in pads one time. I would sign up. I would easily sign up for that. If the Cardinals gave me if I had to sign a waiver and you put me in pads on the Cardinals field and we filmed it, I would let it. I would high and tight with the football. I would let him come free tackle me. It would be bad, but I would do it.
You're the content king, man. That's why you're one of the best.
Anything for the brand. Anything for this right here, and all of you in the chat. You guys are unbelievable. In all seriousness, we've had a banner start to the month of August. Training camp has been a lot of fun, and the fun only continues because they're open practices. Hands up in the chat. Who is going to be at the red and white practice open to the public on Saturday? Your guy, Bo, and all of you, hopefully. Let's have some fun. Come hang out. Say what's up. We are going to have our post-game show for the red and white. So if you're not able to come out and you want to know exactly what went down at State Farm Stadium, check out that show. Because, I mean, this is the last weekend. We don't have Arizona Cardinal football, preseason or otherwise. And it's pretty awesome.
It's unbelievable. The news from Hollywood Brown and the tweet from Hollywood Brown. It's easy to just slap a like, and also easy to slap a like for the big announcement coming tomorrow. Isaiah Simmons is going to come and beat the shit out of Johnny Venerable live on air. No, it's even bigger than that, and you got to be here at 4:30 post Cardinals training camp tomorrow. GM Saul Bookman is actually going to confirm.
I think you just dwarfed your own story because I don't think anybody gives a shit about our announcement. They just want to see Johnny get fucking smashed by Isaiah Simmons. And to be true, so do I.
Oh, come on now. Let's go, Isaiah. I could play in the ACC. Anybody can play in the ACC. Just kidding.
All right. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll talk to you Thursday. PHNX Cardinals.